We're back again on Viewpoint. Dom Dalpoas and Wally Reifsteck are with us. We're talking about the Oasis. Again, our number 648-5510. And if you'd give us a call with any questions you have about the future of the Oasis, I'm sure that they'd be happy to answer them for you. And it would be kind of nice for them, too, because that would get a couple questions out of the way. And we don't know what's on the mind of everybody in the community who takes advantage of the Oasis, which is a large part of the community.
Yeah, we estimate anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 touches in terms of the senior population within the community of Logan County, not just Lincoln, but the community of Logan County. So we try, there's a lot of folks that we touch and impact, and we certainly, as you said, we certainly would like to hear from them too in terms of helping or assisting with decisions.
Right.
One of our biggest concerns now is that we get programs up and going, and each week they keep adding another program in. When it began after the fire, we only had till July 15th to assume having the government programs back in operation, that we had just about 15 days or a little longer here to get things done. And that became first and foremost, and of course that's what...
The Social Security people, what other programs would you be having, Wally, that were government programs?
SHIP program.
We had a senior health insurance program, a senior health assistance program, which are insurance programs that are grant funded, and we had a BEAM program, which is, quote, the old circuit breaker program where people get a license plate discount. Those are all grant-funded programs by the state and federal governments, and our goal is to get those restored by July 15th. In fact, shortly after the fire, I went on kind of a little bit of a tour of our grant sites, our grantors sites, and I sat down with them, and that's how I like to do those things, is a face-to-face discussion with those folks and let them know what our status was and what our goal was, and that we were aiming for July 15th. In fact, with the help of St. John's Church, we were able to actually meet that goal of July 15th, which is, Wally said, it was fairly quick, but it was it seemed like a long time. There were lots of things that happened during that time period.
Well, St. John's must have stepped up to the plate right away.
What happened the night of the fire, we have an interim pastor there right now, and she called and she said several people from the church have called and said surely there's something we can do to help. And she said we're making our facility available to whatever you need. So they kind of immediately just stepped in, and of course there were several others that did the same thing. And as Dom said, we went around to these various places and looked at what would best suit our needs there. The worst part about it is we've got Dom Cubbyhold down there. If you know Dom is a front man here, and we closed the door on him, and he's in there all by himself. He doesn't get to see all the traffic eventually, but other than that, it's working out well. We have everything in there.
I'm sure, Dom, you feel, thank God, at least you've got a place to hole up,
Yeah, I do. Now, the first place that actually stepped was the community action let us have an office space, just to do administrative things out of there, and that's where we went first. And I told someone, you can't imagine the amount of people that, business people, because there's just, when you look at the Oasis Senior Center, Wally and I were looking at it with our kind of hearts were kind of saddened by the loss.
Sure.
But there were lots of people that look at that as a money, and there's lots of money there to be made because of the restoration or whatever else you had to do with it. So I had, my two front pockets were full of business cards where people would give you the business card and say, if you need this, you do that. The restoration groups, I had like 4 restoration cards. I had numerous cards in my pocket, so that was my filing cabinet for a while until we got to Capsule, and then They let us have an office space to use, and then we, as Wally indicated, we slowly progressed to get a more temporary, permanent location at the St. John's United Christ, and they've just been more than generous.
And they've got parking space.
They have parking right next to the facility, exactly, so it's very nice.
That's right. I'm sure you were just sickened by that fire. It's just such an awful thing. I decided that the only thing worse would be flood, because at least a fire comes and it does its awfulness and it's gone. And then you deal with the aftermath. Well, with a flood, they work their hearts out to save themselves, which they can't do, and they still have the flood, and they still have the aftermath.
Yeah.
But
in fact, the restoration group had just been working on a flooded area near the Illinois River when the fire occurred, because we had all the spring rains and stuff like that. So I've never been through a flood either, and I don't want to.
No.
So, but that's certainly devastating. The one interesting fact, is that we've had 2 fire inspectors that came to the building to kind of look to see what caused it. And I was fascinated at what they were able to not only show me, but demonstrate how the fire occurred at the site. There was an antenna on top of our building that had not been used for a number of years. It's located near the front of it. And I asked the fire inspector when we were there the day after, I said, well, how do you guys look at this thing? And he said, so he took me to the upstairs apartment. Now, when you're looking up at what used to be a ceiling, all you're seeing is blue skies at that point. So the whole roof was gone, and he says, there's this TV antenna. He showed me the TV antenna. He showed me where the lightning struck the TV antenna, and he showed me how it traveled down. These guys are really good, so if any of your listeners are thinking about becoming arsonists, don't, because these guys are very, very good at
we got that settled, didn't we?
Very good at what they do, and would just show me how it went, and they can actually identify the bolt of lightning that hit the building and the exact time of that hit.
I know they go to school lots and lots and lots of hours to perfect that talent, but it's just phenomenal, isn't it?
It really is. I was actually at home when this fire, I got a call. We were having a family gathering. I got a call from Young Security, and anytime we had a rain, we had a small leak in the roof at the back end of the building that happened to be right near where this fire alarm panel is. And as my wife can testify, there were lots of times we would get these calls from the security, and they would say, the fire alarm has been triggered at the center, so and so, and I would think, boy, oh boy, and they were all nuisance calls. So that night, I told the family again, I said, well, the Oasis is on fire. I've got to go put it out, and I'll be right back. Because I really thought that the rain had triggered this alarm, and not the case. I ran into fire personnel in the building when I entered, and you could smell the difference. There was smoke in the building when I got there.
Now, this antenna that you're talking about, was it the type antenna that people used to have beside their house or on their roof that brought in the television stations? Was that what it was?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, so just in order to proceed with a word to the wise, would a person be well served to get rid of an antenna that they're not using anymore?
Well, I think anytime you have a lightning rod near or around your building, and it's not grounded well, you probably should remove it. The funny part about it is the courthouse has a lightning rod at the top of it, and we're only 400 yards from the courthouse, and the lightning bolt seemed to strike our building rather than the building that's taller and all that. So, I think it would be wise to get rid of those things, but it's also just kind of a fluke.
It's a shirky toot, isn't it?
You just can't protect yourself well enough from some of these nature things that happen.
I hope you had good insurance.
Well, I've been asked that question more than once, and my answer at the time of the fire and my answer today is I don't know that you could ever have good enough insurance when you have a tragedy like what was endured by the Oasis. I mean, no matter how well you're insured, you're not going to be insured well enough. And I think when we start to look at our particular insurance, that's where I think we're going to find ourselves somewhat lacking. And we're going to, that's what Wally was indicating earlier, is we're going to try to find out what the difference is between what today's costs are to fix a building and what our insurance is. We already know that by an appraisal that the building, to build a building like that building today is $2 million to build a building like that. And we really put a lot of stock in our local insurance agents to guide us on, to guide us towards a correct amount of insurance. And I think we may be shorter than what we want to be in terms of the insurance coverage. So, but we won't know all those things. We're coming closer to that number. I would anticipate that we know sort of where we're at by Balloon Fest time for sure.
Well, really, that's pretty quick when you talk about June 21st being the fire, and knowing what you have to deal with by just 2 months later.
Yeah, that's what we're anticipating right now, is that we would know, and then, as Wally indicated, we'll know then kind of what we're up against and whether or not we can, what we have to do, what we can do, and how we can raise funds to meet that particular, that particular goal.
Well, we'll sure want to have you come back, if you would, after Balloon Fest and give us an update on where you're going. It's so important to so many, and as you've said, it's going to be important to so many more over the coming years. There's just no end to the people who are going to be wanting to use the services provided there, which are many.
No, the anticipation is the baby boom population now that's becoming seniors will expand those services. The state recognizes that, the federal government recognizes that, and I hope they recognize it financially as well and help us restore those services to our community here, which is a great, big, wonderful community of folks. It really is.
It is. We're pretty lucky that we ended up settling here, all of us, except Jim. He was born here. He didn't settle here. Right? That's right. I thank you both so much. I appreciate your coming and sharing with us everything that you know about this, and we wish you all the best. I will look forward to updates. Thanks so much, Dom Dalpoas and Wally Reifsteck, for talking with us about the future of the Oasis. And thank you for being with us. We'll say goodbye to you now until next Wednesday morning at 8:15 for Viewpoint.